So I teased you guys about doing a video on this crawler a little while back. Actually, it was probably 4 months ago. I'm a little late on the deal, but this is the Hobby Plus CR18P Pro. And from what I saw, it got some pretty good reviews from other channels out there, and it's worthy about talking about right now, especially since I have all of the option parts to install on it. But before we get into this stuff, I want to talk about the features really quick and what you need to know about this rig. So of course I got to show you guys what's included in the box. Beyond the assembled rig, you're going to get an H3 radio system. We've seen these before. They have your basic trims on it. You can't use the dip switches with this one though, because that is for the brush models. This has a Hobbywing brushless system in it, but still a comfortable radio system. You do need to provide AAA batteries for that. You're going to get a USB charger. This is for the 3S battery. Just note the plug on that, so you can't use it with your 2S battery packs. Of course, you got to get an instruction manual, a Hobbywing user manual, and let's check out this rig. So this is available in 2 different colors. There's also a red version, and that'll have red wheels, but really like the look of this. Juiced up edition logo, everything screen printed, all these little graphics on here. Kind of has that cliffhanger vibe to the body, very close in style to it, but what's great about this body is it has the clearance that you need in the front and rear for all the articulation. But check out the chassis on this thing. This is a really cool setup. This is just going to be so capable right out of the box. They've made a number of changes in comparison to some of their previous models, and that's what we really need to go over. So this rig has a single speed transmission setup, and one thing to note about these is they do have a lot of play in the drivetrain. Look at that. That is how much lash is in the gears before everything starts to engage. So that's one little downside that I've seen people talk about with these rigs. I think it really depends on how you're driving, whether it's a huge issue or not. If you're in a competition with it, I could see being a problem, but if you're just having fun, not too big of a deal. But there is a welcome change to the drive line. They include a optional rear underdrive. It's a 27%, so they swapped out the ring and pinion gear on here, and they've also updated the drive shafts. So these are the same as the Arctos, so these are a bit stronger. And then you'll probably see up front, they gave us some brass for the front hexes. Nothing in the rear, it just looks like a kind of a disc brake they have in the rear, but it's awesome to see that they've given us some brass, gives us that weight, and they actually included the brass rings inside the wheels. That's also going to help plant this rig, and since I'm talking about the wheels and tires, definitely like the lugs that they have on this. Nice soft squishy foam inserts, and actually back to the axles. So they've revised these. They now have 1.5 millimeter pins in them, where the previous version had a much smaller pin. They would shear, they'd fall out. Just kind of something everybody wanted to see upgraded. Nice to see that they did it here. We've seen this chassis before, definitely a highly adjustable chassis with all of the holes for the shocks and the suspension links. And speaking of the suspension links, they still have these composite links, which are a bit flexible in the rear, but definitely like that they have metal ball studs throughout. And then the nice squishy oil-filled shocks from the factory. This thing is set up right out of the box to do really well. Look at all that articulation. So much fun just to look at on the bench. We got to get into the electronics now. So it is a metal geared servo up front. I think this is pretty much the same as what we've seen before from them, but the big change is right behind it. So we have the Hobbywing 1621 SL brushless outrunner motor. That's just going to give this rig some smooth power. And then there's the WP Mini 24 speed controller. You could see the conformal coating on the outside, which means that is waterproof. That's what the WP stands for. And then this has the FlySky radio system that I showed you. So it's got a FlySky receiver mounted on the side plate here, and on the other side plate is a 3S battery pack, 360 milliamps, so that's just awesome. That means it's going to give this rig some power. If you need to motor through some obstacles, you're going to have the power on tap. So that's what you really need to know about the rig. I think it's already proven to be super capable out there in the hands of a lot of people already, but the big deal with this video here is all of these option parts. Let's get started over here with this servo on axle conversion set. Actually, the Pro already has a servo on axle setup, but this is all aluminum, and it's got to get rid of those composite links in the front. That's why I'm excited to install that. Then they also have the suspension links, and look at that. The pivot balls are already installed. They've got those rubber O-rings on them. That takes up a lot of time if you have to do it on your own. Nice to see that they already did it for us here. Just in case you were wondering, yeah, they have the brass wheel weights available separately. I'm probably gonna go throw these on my Hunter that I have, but check this out, guys. This is pretty awesome. The machined aluminum front portal hub set. These are machined housings. These are aluminum, anodized in nice gray, and then they've got the brass weights for the covers on the outside. All the hardware is included. If you just want to grab the outer weights on by themselves, you could do that, and then they have them for the rear. Check this out. Machined aluminum rear axle. They actually have the front axle too. I don't have that. That's one of the few parts I'm missing here, but this looks really cool with the gunmetal anodizing, the red cover. And then this, a lot of people probably excited to see this bag, probably wish it was already in the car, but they don't do that, just the way they build their stuff. It's the ball bearing set. It's gonna give you all the ball bearings you're gonna need to swap out the transmission bushings to bearings, and same with the axles. Then over here, full aluminum big bore shocks. These look pretty awesome. Even brass pivot balls, all the hardware that you're gonna need. And then they have two hex hub sets. So there's the plus 10 millimeter set here. Actually, that's what's already on this rig. But again, if you're looking at just a regular CR18P upgrade, these fit the 1.5 millimeter pins. And then here's the standard offset brass wheel hexes. And finally, we have some gears. And I had to do a little research here. So this is a machine version of the underdrive gear set that they have in the rear. It's the 1128 combo, so this is just a replacement, better machine gear set. This here is a optional overdrive, 20% overdrive front portal gear set. So you've got some options here as far as, gearing if you want to go change up your overdrive, underdrive, and it's time to get all these parts installed. Ran into a problem when I was putting the servo linkage together. Went to drill another hole in the servo horn and it just split on me. So I threw in the towel on that thing and I just went ahead, dropped in a reef servo. It came with the servo horn and everything's lining up pretty good. Just had to go and figure out what hardware goes where because they give you some additional links, and I guess this is kind of a universal steering kit, but yeah, made it all work. Everything's looking really good. Now time to swap out those bushings inside the transmission. Look at that, we've got all metal gears inside this. Just gotta take this nice and slow and make sure I swap out all these bushings to bearings. The build is all finished up and the rig looks really good. Actually, from the outside, it still looks bone stock. Unless you look at it from the rear, you can see that new axle, but everything went together really smooth. Nothing really to throw you off as far as just throwing these option parts on, other than I did notice that the lower links in the front were kind of binding up the way that they had the pivot balls placed. I had to go and flip those around. The way they were, it was just kind of pushing out on links and binding up the front end. The rear went in pretty good. I used the middle offset pivot balls on the lower part of the shocks. They give you a couple different ones to choose from, and then the wider offset up top that just spaced out the shock perfectly. This is how I installed the steering links so they didn't bind on each other. And again, I swapped out the servo for the Reef's 55 Micro. Fits in there perfectly. Has lots of torque, and I noticed that when I go full lock that the universals do bottom out just a little bit, so I backed off on my steering dual rate just so they don't lock out and wear. In the rear, I did go and put the differential in, or the spool in wrong to begin with. Had to go and flip that around, so just be careful. I could have swore I got it right when I was putting it together, but yeah, when I turned it on, the wheels were going in the opposite direction, so I just had to go flip that. Anyway, everything else, I mean, it just bolts right on, guys. And the final weight of this is 508 grams. So it added 108 grams with all of these option parts. So it gives it some good weight. I did go and install the offset brass hexes in the rear. So that added some weight to the rear. And the thing feels really good. Now we just need to see it drive. Here we go, drivers, at one of my usual crawl spots. Love this spot, and I'm trying something a little different today. I've got my DJI Action 5 camera to shoot the action, and I paired it up with a DJI 2 mic, so now I could hopefully just drive and not do a lot of splicing of video and audio. Let's get this thing rolling. That, of course, means I'm driving one-handed, too. And I'm going to go right for this tough spot here. These rocks are a little damp, so I'm not sure how these stock tires are going to do. To find some traction. There we go, a little more speed. So it's got the weight. But yeah, I should have done a tire swap. I had high hopes for these tires. There we go. Got a little grip. Oh, it's got to catch that rear wheel, I know, on that edge right there. Just steer into it, actually. That worked. Wow, that's pretty impressive. I don't think that would have worked stock. But yeah, when you throw some weight on a rig, man, it's amazing what it'll do, right? Let's check out the suspension action next. Oh yeah, look at that. Money. It's just conforming right over those rocks. Oh, that looked good. This is a good looking rig. All right. This is some gnarly stuff right here. Just do a nice slow incline. Little tire slip. Oh, look at that. See, hung up. Man, this thing's motoring through. That looks good. There's some top speed for you. We got some speed with this 3S rig. Drop back down. Let's just see the descent here. Let's see what kind of drag brake we've got. A good hill hold. Yeah, look at that. All right. That's just tire slip right there. And a nice slow crawl now. I mean, I'm barely touching the throttle. Barely. Look at that. I mean, if I had some better tires, it would just be stuck to the rocks. Yeah, that's awesome. Such an impressive rig, right? Hit this ledge incline next. And you can see those front wheels spinning actually faster than the rear, so that underdrive is definitely helping this out. And I wish some kids didn't spray paint these rocks. All right, we got some slick rock here, and look at that. I mean, yeah, the stock tires, they're not bad for fooling around, but this rig could definitely benefit for some grippy tires. So much control. And the steering angle's still pretty decent. And there hasn't been anything where I really wanted some more steering yet. I mean, it looks like you get a little bit more angle, but those axles, they bottom out, so that worries me. We got the steering dual rate backed off just a little bit. Now it's time to see if this rig will impress me. Look at this jagged ledge rock. It's on an angle. A little damp. So far we're doing it. I mean, some 10 scale rigs have a hard time on this spot. Just gotta find the right line. Add a little more speed. Oh, no. All right, round two. Got the wheel speed down. Gonna take the cheater line this time. There we go. Oh, hung up on that ledge in the rear. Oh, that's really hung up that axle. Just a little power through. God, that's impressive. Love the suspension movement on this. Definitely plenty of steering hold from that reef servo. That was a good upgrade. But yeah, all that weight really helped out. Oh, this is sketchy here. That could be a gnarly drop. Look at that. I don't think I've ever crawled a rig down this ledge. Oh, is it going to do it? What do you think? Am I going to go over? Whoa, I think I nailed it. Oh boy. Wow. Well, drivers, this is a pretty impressive rig. I know I didn't run it stock, but I've heard really good things about this thing stock out of the box, and I really liked all of the option parts. I mean, there was a little bit of tweaking necessary to get some of the parts to work properly, like those links, and just figuring out the offset ball studs that needed to be used for the shocks. But I mean, I think all the parts are really worthwhile, especially the links and obviously the weight. The weight makes a big difference. So if you're going to get those portal hub covers, that's a good upgrade. I definitely want to get that front axle too. That was a really nicely machined axle. Everything fits in there perfectly. Just some really good upgrades right from the factory. These guys know what they're doing, and yeah, this thing is an awesome performer. If you're into it, I'll have links for all the goodies I use down in the video description below. We'll see you back soon for some more RC Driver videos.